Welcome to the Agility in Real Life podcast, Take 5 in Real Life. Now your hosts, Mike Studeman, Jeff Lee, and Pat Campbell.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of Take 5 IRL, Take 5 in Real Life, brought to you by Agility IRL. I'm Mike Studeman, one of the partners at Agility IRL, and I'm joined by one of my other business partners, Pat Campbell. Pat, how are you doing today?
Doing good, Mike, after a beautiful fall weekend. Thanks for asking, and hope you're doing as well.
I'm doing great. The topic for this episode and continuing on our flow metrics theme is throughput. So, Pat, what's throughput?
Throughput, magic word. Everybody loves the sound of it, but what is it? It's really, the amount of work in progress or work in process. In other words, the number of work items completed per unit of time. What are we getting done? And basically how fast are items actually leaving the process that we have in place to create something.
So distinguish that for our audience, distinguish that a little bit from velocity, because I know that there's people out there right now thinking, well, throughput equals velocity. How are they different?
Velocity is a planning tool, not really something to be used as a metric. Teams use it to try to figure out how many work items can we fit into the sprint. However, they're subjectively applying, values to those work items based on their experience, which is fine and useful, but does not equal actual throughput of number of work items, which is the best, baseline metric in terms of things completed, actual things completed that we can actually use.
Yeah, I think the other big difference, of course, is velocity is oftentimes described in terms of a sprint. Throughput could be in terms of a release, in terms of a month, in
Hmm.
terms of a year. I think there's a lot more flexibility there as to the unit that you use, along with the just the empirical nature of it. It's the real data. It's not a guess, if you will. Uh,
Excellent point.
so why should our audience be worried about throughput? Why is it
Well,
important?
probably because whoever's running their organization is probably interested in how many features am I going to get in this next release? Because that's what throughput points us to is a realistic indicator of what we're going to be able to put in the hands of our stakeholders, our business owners, who are ultimately who write our paychecks.
Yeah, I think you're hitting on some key points there. I think it moves us closer to outcome-based measurement versus output-based measurement. I think
Hmm.
there's also a an increased focus when you're looking at throughput on value delivered. I know throughput isn't exactly equal to value. You can be creating a lot of features that nobody uses, but I think it moves us closer there
Hmm.
to actually delivering value versus just being busy. Um, so,
Agreed.
some factors I think that we have to take into account if we want to impact throughput. Obviously, the big one, per the definition that you gave, is our whip. If we can get our whip under control, that should improve throughput. Uh, a
Hmm.
future uh, a future episode of this series is going to introduce a law that we've mentioned a couple of times that'll talk about that. Uh,
Hmm.
I think bottlenecks, feedback loops, those are all things to look at in
Hmm.
terms of affecting throughput. Anything you would add to that list, Pat, beyond, looking at your whip, the bottlenecks, the feedback loops?
Yeah. Excuse me. What are the size of our work items? So that the smaller they are, the quicker we can close them. How are we teaming to deliver them as opposed to, worrying about utilization, which will negatively impact your throughput if you focus too much on, am I keeping everybody busy? Because that does the opposite of closing work items.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think keeping the work item small is huge for a number of reasons. Not only does it help with throughput, but it also I like to say it prevents the I'm working on it problem. We always
Hmm.
had the issue both at an individual level and at a team level of you got a big work item. It's really hard to get transparency to
Yeah.
where you're at on that item. So as we
There's one
wrap up
more
our,
thing,
oh yeah, go ahead, Pat. Sorry.
just to add, how fast are things arriving to be worked on as well, which means, am I looking at my WIP limits in all of the stages, not just this stage?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
A key point there. So as we wrap up our time together, what's kind of one takeaway that you'd give our audience regarding throughput? What's one thing that you'd have them consider here as we wrap up our time for this episode?
Yeah, I would say, how are you how are you combining to close work out? The more you close, and hopefully the smaller the items you're closing, but the more you can swarm, mob, pair, whatever, the better your throughput will be.
Yeah, take a look at get a handle on what your throughput is. Have a discussion per Pat's advice.
Yep.
Thanks for watching this episode. Look forward to future episodes as we continue this series on flow metrics. Thanks, Pat.
Good to see you, Mike.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Take 5 IRL podcast. If you like it, please go ahead and share it with someone, as well as like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Also, leave us a comment or a suggestion for a future episode. Again, thanks for listening, and we look forward to you joining us next time on the Take 5 IRL podcast.